Tropical Storm Ophelia named off North Carolina. So another named storm adds to the Atlantic's tally. Tropical Storm Ophelia just named at the 2 p.m. advisory this afternoon on September 22nd, 32.7 north, 76 degrees west as of the latest update. As of 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 60 mph winds and a pressure estimate of 992 millibars with good confidence because recon were recently in the storm, moving north-northwest at 12 miles per hour and expected to make landfall in North Carolina tomorrow morning, and is already dumping quite considerable amounts of rain over the area, and tropical storm force winds are also present. A very large, wide wind field on that northern half circle, particularly there, with some of the southern sides not really reaching significant distances at all actually. There are storm surge warnings in effect, and that's our main concern right now, both for inlet to Chincoteague, Virginia, Chesapeake Bay as well, a large part of the southern Chesapeake Bay, and for the Noosa and Pamlico rivers and portions of the Pamlico and Albemarle Sounds. It is 234 kilometers from Morehead City, could be close to the landfall zone, 286 from Cape Hatteras, 346 from Greenville, 462 from Norfolk, and 694 from Washington, D.C. Tropical storm warnings, of course, remain in effect for large areas as well. A substantial storm surge and dangerous coastal conditions expected along eastern North Carolina and into Chesapeake Bay. Up to 5 feet of surge now expected near the landfall zone, and up to 3 feet expected as far north as Manasquan Inlet in central coastal New Jersey. So storm surge impacts could be wide-ranging. Well, here's the forecast over the next few days, depicted by the model ensembles. Over the weekend, it will reduce in the tropical storm force winds and then move over the Delmarva Peninsula over Sunday into Monday, and it will be just off the coastline there, and it will eventually dissipate during the middle of next week according to the model ensembles, although the GFS parent model does have the thing regenerating maybe a little bit as an extratropical cyclone. The National Hurricane Center's forecast cone visible there on the top left, showing the expected forecast track, a pretty straightforward one, and decent confidence in the current intensity of 60 miles per hour, of course, with the recon planes. The satellite estimates are lagging behind quite a bit. They're stuck at 50 miles per hour at this point, but it looks like some decent agreement for 60 at this time. I think ASCAP may have also been in and around the storm as well, I'm not sure on that. So look at this chart closely, up to 5 feet there for the southern regions of that yellow zone in the storm surge forecast. Further north expecting up to 4 feet there as well, and towards 3 feet in Delaware Bay, and moving further north there into New Jersey. So this is the GFS forecast model then, a pretty straightforward landfall there, although those winds do escalate in distance away from the center and they start to peter out a little bit and the storm dies off quite quickly. But look towards the late part of that run and it may regenerate as still an extratropical system by that point and could come in for round 2 in the northeast there with tropical storm force winds, but nothing unusual about that kind of thing, more of a nor'easter pattern by that point. Here's simulated radar imagery showing quite copious amounts of rainfall there, actually displaced on the western side it would appear there as it swirls round the northern edges of the storm, the center. So we are looking at substantial rainfall amounts near the landfall zone, North Carolina and the central part of that state, along the coast a bit further towards the west of the storm track's center. Further on in that forecast there towards the northeast, lesser amounts of rainfall, but some accumulations significant could be possible, maybe even in the Baltimore area and Washington DC. So something to watch out for over the next few days. So here are the rainfall accumulations projected by that model as well. They are higher than they were in previous updates. It's been trending upwards. I remember when a couple of days ago it was only forecasting 4 inches. Well, now we're looking at probably 8 inches of rainfall on top of what's already occurred along the coast of North Carolina there. Quite close to Wilmington, I think that is, 8 inches, and smaller amounts still, but still significant amounts to the north there, getting towards 4 inches, maybe 5 in 1 or 2 spots in the Outer Banks region, and through towards the northeast there as well. Maryland getting up towards 3 inches, New Jersey as well, and maybe even southern Pennsylvania. Sea surface temperatures aren't actually looking that great, to be honest, looking at that imagery there. There is a small pocket of warm temperatures where the storm is at this immediate time, around 26 degrees Celsius, but they are dropping off a little bit. Admittedly, these graphics do read a little bit low, but I expect the temperatures around the coast are around 24 to 25 degrees Celsius, so a bit chilly, and that extends further up towards the north as well along that coast. So it is, it's not going to be a proper tropical storm as we might call it, with massive amounts of convection near the center. It's not really got the energy for that, and it shows on this satellite imagery. It's certainly not the typical tropical storm formation. It is more of a hybrid system that may have gone unnoticed in the past, perhaps in the early days of satellite imagery, but looking at that, you can quite clearly see significant amounts of rainfall on that radar imagery along the western side of that storm center. It's almost an eye there, to be honest, without the eye wall, if that makes any sense, but certainly no indications of a substantial structure forming near the center, because of course the east and southern sides are all completely bare. So it's that western northwestern shield which is producing all of that rainfall, probably a lot of strong winds there as well, with high gusts, which will be getting up towards the higher end of tropical storm status from this newly designated tropical storm Ophelia, and landfall is coming up probably in the morning hours of tomorrow after sunrise.